Okay.
Yeah. Will you please minimize your dial page where I see S, your name? If possible, I can't do it. I minimized mine so that I can see your full screen. My screen partitioned into two. One half is showing your name with S.
Okay. Yeah, I did now.
Okay, still showing the same, but it is very, very bright and visible. So
Let me see if I can minimize this. But I required the cells and all.
okay.
See. Okay, first of all, we'll start, uh, with your doubts first. Okay.
Okay, okay.
So, go, yeah.
Right. I started my career
Hmm.
working in a corporate action department.
Hmm.
But I was part of reconciliation, not the main process, like setting up the event,
Hmm. Hmm.
receiving the instructions, searching online, and start with contacting with people, companies, stock exchanges, and registrar.
Hmm.
And I was part of income payment process as well. But all I remember was, as far as process front, reconciliation, unfortunately. But the concepts and all, I'm very familiar with. What is a corporate action? What are the parties involved? Important dates.
Hmm. 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 Okay.
What is the purpose of a corporate action? What is the objective behind a corporate action? If you ask anything of this area, I would be so confident. But process front, I don't even remember the applications.
Okay, tell me what is the difference between buyback and return of capital?
Buyback, if written off capital is, I mean, a form. If a company decide to return the borrowed capital, they'll say, "This is it. We have performed enough, or we want to return your capital." It's company's call. Board of directors will decide, sit and decide, and they'll initiate a return. And how many shares? If I am an investor, if I hold, if there is a capital gain, I'll receive a little more than what I invested. So it's that it. They'll close the deal and I will be no longer an investor to the company. And then buyback is when the company wants to get the shares that are there in the
But in
market.
both the cases, if you see, company want to return their shares back. Simple.
Hmm.
And why we are
So
creating two separate events?
let's say in the buyback, if company thinks that there are more shares in the market, they want to cut down on the number of shares. That's one reason. Second, company has more profits after sharing with equity shareholders, stakeholders. They still hold lots of money, so they want to invest into their own shares. They want to pull them back because they know that their share price will go up in near future. So they want to hold with them for some time. So there are very slight difference. So they will offer they'll release a tender. They will
Now, company, the issuer company, they cannot issue the tender.
oh, stock exchanges.
Not
They'll
even stock
notify.
exchanges.
Okay,
What is the
registrar.
difference between buyback and tender?
Buyback, they'll notify the stock exchanges, then they will disclose that this particular company is willing to buy back their shares from the market, and the tender offer is a private situation. They'll go, it's like, they will not contact stock exchanges. Instead, they'll go private and call all the shareholders and tell them
I'll,
that
I'll
this
make
is
it simple. I'll make it simple. Okay.
okay.
If I take the example of TCS, okay,
Mm-hmm.
TCS only can issue the buyback for a TCS shares. If the TCS board want to buy back the shares from the shareholders, only TCS can announce buyback.
Okay. Okay.
But let's say TCS want to buy back the shares or buy the shares of Wipro company or targeted company.
Okay.
In that case, TCS can announce the tender offer for the targeted company.
Uh, that's when we are seeing it. Yeah, agree.
That's the difference. So it
So
means,
acquiring,
yeah, acquiring
lawfully.
company.
Mm.
Let's say now the Byju's can target my company, right?
Mm. Of course, yeah.
Because I'm also into edutech, they're also into edutech, they're the mass player in this edutech business, so they can target to my institution if they can, and if they announce tender, so it means that offer we can call tender offer. Both are the offers eventually.
Yeah, I understand. Hedge funds do that a lot. Hedge
Yeah,
fund
hedge
managers.
funds because they
Mm.
target the companies.
Mm.
Okay, anyway.
Yep.
And what is the difference between, or how would you differentiate the cash and stock option and DREAP, dividend reinvestment plan?
Mm. Let's say a company made some profits, they want to share with the equity shareholders and preference shareholders. They are obligated to, but at the same time, it is not a mandate. It's an optional for them. So let's say I've decided I have excess cash after paying my taxes and after deducting all expenses. I have profits that I want to share. Then I'll give option to the customers. Either receive cash dividend. It's a mandate corporate action. They have to accept it. Either receive cash dividend or tell us that if you want us to reinvest this cash into stock. That's cash option, drip option, dividend reinvestment plan. Some investors, while engaging, when they invest into that company, they make they'll give a consent to company then and there itself. Whatever dividends you want to pay, reinvest it back. I want to grow my capital gains. I want to grow my capital, as much as possible. So either they pay cash or invest into the business itself and diversify or grow even better.
But what is the difference? See, point here is in both the events, company want to utilize the earned profit for their expenditure. That's what they are distributing shares, or in other case, they are requesting or I would say offering investor the other option that they can invest in the same company stock, right? But in both the cases, ultimate the goal of the company is like to utilize the earned profit for the company's expenditure. Are you getting me? Think from a different side. Hello, are you there?
Oh, sure. I can hear you now.
Okay.
Network issue.
In both the events,
Mm-hmm.
see, company want to utilize earned profit. Instead
Yes.
distribution, company want to utilize for their maybe daily expenditures,
Mm.
right? And that's what
Yes.
company is looking for, a distribution of additional shares
Mm.
or shares instead cash in both the
Okay.
events. Then why company is, or the I would say we're creating two different events. One is cash and stock option, and another one is dividend reinvestment plan.
It's
Eventually, in both the events, we are offering same payout, cash and
mm.
stock. If you don't want cash, then we're going to offer you stock. If you don't want stock, then by default, we're going to offer you cash payment. Then why we are putting efforts to create two different events?
We have to look at in two perspective. Company perspective, if investor decide to reinvest his dividend, it's good for company. They receive capital, more money, and they can uh, reinvest back into their business. They have more money. On the perspective of investor, let's say I'm the investor. I don't want the money right now. I want to see my money grow even bigger. So it's a benefit for me. I receive shares. I'm a shareholder. On the other hand, for investors who accept cash, it's good for them as well because I want my cash flows. I need money. So It's a win-win situation for all the parties. Whoever accept cash, they are benefited.
See, my question is
Stock.
about at a practicality. Think from a
Okay.
corporate action analyst side.
Okay.
You're
Okay.
processing corporate action, right?
Mm. Mm.
So my question is, in both the events, we are paying same option, cash and stock,
Mm.
right?
Right.
I'm an investor. I don't want cash. Then now you're paying stock payment to me,
Okay.
right? Whether as your CSO or DREEP, that's
Mm.
fine. But in both the corporate actions, you're paying same option. Then why we are creating two different events?
Giving an option, it's a way of giving an option to investor, make them happy.
It's not about
That's
that.
what.
From a processing side, me in both see, if I participate in DREEP, still you're paying cash or either stock to me. And if I participate in cash and stock options, still in this case also you're paying the same cash or either stock, whatever it is. I mean, that is depends on me again,
Mm.
what I'm looking for, right?
Right.
There is no change in payout, but from a processing aspect, we are creating two different events.
Mm.
Think. Okay.
No,
Anyways,
well, I mean, it will be good
yeah.
for company as well. I mean, their share price will increase because
Nothing will
they get.
increase. Okay. So if you believe that if you offer the stock dividend or maybe stock to the investors, then prices of the stock will increase and all, that is not the case.
That's one perspective. If I am the investor, I'll say no. Why are you distributing the profits? Keep growing. Have more project. Diversify. Go big. If I see a company distributing profits in terms of dividend, I'll say that's not a good company, or prices will not go up because they're sharing the money. We need the capital to invest to earn the money back. So it depends on the perspective, isn't it? As well, like you said, share price will not grow. You said.
When you distribute dividend, then eventually that particular portion not will be there in the balance sheet of a company. Okay,
Mm.
right, and that will affect on net asset value of a stock or
Okay.
stock prices. If you receive 100 rupees dividend for per shares, you would see the change in the market price of that particular shares on X date.
Mm.
The share price will be automatically dropped by 100 rupees.
Okay.
So it means from a fund accounting perspective or from an investor perspective, when you receive dividend at the moment, I would say you will not see much difference in it,
Mm.
in benefit that in terms of you're talking about. But
Okay.
later on, if you hold the investment for a longer duration, right?
Mm.
So after two weeks or 3 weeks, automatically price will bounce back in the market, because if this that the particular stock is highly dividend paying stock, in that case also most of the investors, they prefer to invest in such stocks as well. If I take the example of BPCL, if you invest 3 lakhs in BPCL for 1 year, almost you will earn around 10% dividend income
Wow.
on that the BPCL stock. And
Okay. Good.
everyone want such a stocks to maintain the healthy cash flows,
Mm.
right? You don't need
Mm.
to uh, that the sell the stock in the market.
Mm.
So the company will pay the dividend to you maybe quarterly, semi-annually, or annually. You're gonna receive 10% on your investment. So that
Mm.
10% you can utilize for your expenditures or needs, whatever that
Okay.
you have, and then you can carry that investment as well. There's
I
no
understand.
harm.
So why do companies have two options?
In a one, if you see technically, in a one, before the cash and stock options, they create the coupon in the market and they announce it.
Okay.
The when the announced coupon, and if you see the process flow of CSO, firstly the event will be announced coupon.
Okay.
coupon will be distributed to the shareholders,
Okay.
and that coupon will have expiry on expiration date or on expiry date. That will be decided, say how many shareholders are eligible for a cash and how many
Okay.
are eligible for stock.
Okay.
Cash and stock. So when it will be decided on expiry date of coupon,
Okay.
and then your cash and stock option come into picture. Ideally or theoretically, if you see, there is no difference as such. It's like emotions, okay? In a one event, company is saying that if you don't want cash, then we can offer you stock. And in other event, company is requesting you to, if you want to invest, means instead investing in other stocks, so why don't you invest in same company stock? Invest in our company. It's emotional appeal. But in a practicality, before the cash and stock option, there would be coupon. So coupon, then stock, cash and stock option, and if it is required, you can create another one event, which is assimilation
Okay.
for a stock portion.
What do we see? What do we have in a coupon?
Coupon,
What do
it's
they
like a
include?
normal, let's say if you visit any market, they offer you coupon, right? So
Yes.
that coupon you can redeem when you purchase up to 2000 rupees worth of rupees 2000 in next
Okay.
shopping, right? And
Okay.
then coupon will, you can utilize that coupon. The similar way, the same coupon the company offer or announce.
So like we'll be issuing coupons. X date will be this. Record date will be that. Kind.
Exactly. So
Okay.
coupon will be announced, and that coupon on expiration date, company or the dedicated staff, they can check it or validate the coupon expiry and all, and accordingly they allocate the benefit as per your holding. But there won't be change
Okay.
in ratio and all, okay? If you're holding one shares and let's say company announced 1 rupees dividend for one shares, still that ratio would be remains and there is no change in benefit.
Okay.
But in a coupon, company will have a pre idea, I would say, about the payment options, right? Because companies announcing it, so they know it how they
Okay.
have designed the coupon. But in a drip, again, still it's a choice that whether you are interested, then you can, otherwise that's fine. So anyways, we are going to distribute cash dividend to you.
Okay.
That's the practical difference. I mean, before the cash and stock option, there would be coupon. Otherwise, from a benefit side and all, it's an emotional appeal.
Like
If you
you
want to
mentioned,
invest, if you want to invest
they
in other company after getting this dividend, instead that, why don't you invest in my company? Maybe we can do something, or we can offer some discount if you want. Sometime you would see the discount as well.
okay, emotional appeal to
Yeah.
the shareholders.
Yes. Because see, if company raise the capital, let's say I'm in a need, I want that
Okay.
100 crore profit, whatever that we have earned. I want that. If I distribute it, then I'll have to look for a fund from external sources.
Yes.
It can be loan, debenture, notes, debts, term loans, and that loans comes with cost. Correct? And if I raise the
Yeah,
loan, so
exactly.
it means eventually liability of the business will increase and the assets automatically go down.
Yep.
So vice versa, you see, and that's what most of the time shareholders, they also invest in the same company stock. And then here also means under DREAP event as well, we process two times. First time you need to process the cash part. It's like a normal cash dividend.
Okay.
And then after 15 days or 20 days, you can process stock part
Okay.
as per their the instructions which you have received. Check it and then allocate and then process it. So DREEP we paid twice. First time you need to pay the cash payment, and second time you
Okay.
need to pay the stock payment.
So we pay the cash, then that will be converted into shares.
Exactly. This is from accounting perspective.
Okay.
So at a time
So,
you cannot record the cash and stock dividend. First of all, make the entries of a cash payment in the investor's account and then debit the cash from their account and then credit the shares. Right?
okay.
That's
Yeah.
how your DREEP will be created and processed. Otherwise, there is no make sense to create two different events. We are actually, and it's a duplication of activity. In the both the cases, we are paying cash and stock.
I understand.
But from an accounting perspective, you need to pay the dividend first and then request them. If you want to reinvest, then invest the dividend portion. Okay, so we'll only debit the dividend which we have credited to your account. So now debit it and credit the stocks. That's what. First of all, cash will be processed. So you can set up the cash and then process it. And for a stock payment, you can later on, set up the stock part in the system and then you can process it.
Okay. But this will be done by fund accounting. Corporate action team,
No, no,
they'll
no.
only.
This will be done by the corporate action team. See,
Okay.
fund accounting teams, they're only entitled to check the impact of a corporate action and record it in the books of account. They don't care about what option that you're setting up in your system, in corporate action system. As an investor, and let's say you're from corporate action side and I'm an investor.
Okay.
So I don't care about what option that you're creating or how you're managing your corporate action stuff and all. I don't care about at all. If I have invested in XYZ stock, and let's say that the company announced stock dividend or cash dividend, whatever it is, I'll expect only that payout in my demat account or maybe in my bank account. If it is a dividend, that should be received in my bank account. If it is a stock payment, it should be received in my demat account. That's it. Which event that you're
Okay.
creating, how you're managing your deadlines, how you're dealing with the instruction management, how you're allocating the options or currencies to the different accounts, that is the part of your corporate action team. I have nothing to do with your business.
Okay. It's the
Ultimately,
impact.
yes, ultimately, if you create anything, for me, the impact is important. And if there is an impact, that impact should be reflected in my demat account, either in my bank account. If it is a cash benefit, that will be received in bank account. And if it is a stock impact, then that will be credited or received in a that is demat account.
Okay.
That's it. And that's the reason fund accounting teams, they validate the demat account statement and the bank account statement.
Okay. Both.
Yeah. If it is a stock payment, then of course you cannot accept or process the stock payment in bank account. Can you? No, right?
Of course not. Oh.
Exactly. And in a
Deposit
dividend case,
withdraw.
the dividend will be received in a bank account,
Okay.
not in demat account. That's what. As a fund accounting team, you're gonna check or perform the reconciliation with bank account as well as demat account.
Okay.
And your system means, let's say if I take the example of Geneva system should be updated as per the demat account as well as per the bank account statement.
Okay.
Because in a Geneva we create the ledgers, and on a the bank statement and your demat account, there would be your statement versus ledger, it should be match.
Okay.
That's what your reconciliation come into picture.
Ledger, between ledger and bank statement.
Yeah, bank statement.
What customer investor bank account shows and how ledger is reflecting.
Exactly. That the amount, quantity, price, trade date, settlement date, that all should be matched.
Okay.
Those are the key things that should be matched. If it is not matched, then you won't be able to match the statement versus ledger in payment system then.
I get it. Now, can you just give me something about assimilation, Shiv?
Okay. Assimilation, it means it's the again event that the corporate action teams they create to convert the tradable non-tradable securities into tradable. I'll put into example. So
Yes,
do you know
please.
about right distribution?
Yep.
Rights has a two types. One which is tradable and another one which is non-tradable.
Non-tradable. Reliance did this when Geo was happening. They issued rights to their investors.
Sorry, come again.
Reliance, back in 2018 when the Geo was launched, they first issued rights to their existing investors. They
Yeah,
want to, borrow capital from them at a
exactly.
discount.
Yes. So tradable, non-tradable. In case of tradable, if you see as a corporate action analyst, we create only two events.
Okay.
One which is right distribution and another one subscription.
Okay.
Subscriptions.
Okay.
And in a subscription events, you can directly process the rights. So it means you can convert the rights into equity shares and you can transfer that to the original demat accounts to the
Okay.
investors.
Okay.
And
So
your
this
job is
setup
done.
and everything happens on the system like Geneva,
Yes,
let's say.
system, corporate action system. And in case of non-tradable, you required one more event which is assimilation.
Oh, okay.
So this event will help you to convert non-tradable rights into tradable securities. If the security is
Okay.
not tradable, then what makes sense to transfer that securities to the investor? They will not be able to buy and sell the securities.
Yes.
Correct?
No, when you say securities, you mean rights in this context.
Rights that, see, rights that the end benefit would be your common stock.
Okay.
So
I want to
this
understand what
event,
we are trading here is
wait a
rights.
minute,
Sorry.
wait a minute. In this event, in a right distribution event, company is offering rights to buy the common stock at
Okay.
discounted rate. Are you getting me?
Yeah,
Rights,
sure.
it means in a distribution event, right distribution event, company is offering rights to buy the common stock at a
Yes.
discounted rate. In some cases, that rights you would see that those rights are tradable, and in some cases or scenarios, or that is depends on the markets even, the rights are non-tradable. But ultimately, or at the outcome should be your common stock, right?
Yes. Okay.
In a subscription event, we are checking that how many, let's say we have offered 100 rights, only 50 shareholders they shown their interest as they want to subscribe the rights and they are interested to buy the common stock. Then 50 would be lapsed here. Only
Right.
50 now we have received data or input. The 50,
Wants to take the right.
yeah, subscribed, and 50 now been lapsed. Correct? For
Right.
this 50 ones, if it is non-tradable, then you required one more event in your system to Now you have exact numbers how many shareholders are interested to subscribe it.
Okay.
Correct. And if they subscribed, then they'll pay the cash to you eventually. Correct. So
Right.
when they pay the cash, then you have exact number, then convert their rights into common stock and transfer the common stock to their original demat account where they are
Okay.
holding their original shares.
So tradable and non-tradable.
Yeah,
This has to
yeah,
be the
exactly. If it is
thing.
a tradable, then you don't need to create assimilation event. You can directly
Non-trade.
transfer the rights to the shares to the investor.
Whoever
If,
willing to accept.
See, eventually, if the rights are tradable, it means those are common stock. Simple. If the rights are tradable, it means those are common stock.
Okay.
That's what those are trading in market, right? Then company will list it. When the company will list, then you can buy and sell it. And in a non-tradable case, that is depends on the market facilities and all. If I take the example of National Stock Exchange of India, the NSA is advanced tradable, advanced. They have advanced terminals and automated system.
Okay.
But if I take the example of Bombay Stock Exchange, they have a traditional uh, trading system, not the advanced one.
Okay.
Bombay Stock Exchange is not the automated stock exchange,
Oh.
and that's the reason I will not see the options or the futures on a Bombay Stock Exchange because it's not an automated one. That's what few markets or few exchanges they have automated system, so they allowed tradable rights. So companies can list their tradable rights directly.
Okay.
And if the stock exchange they don't have any arrangement, then in that case you don't have any other option. You can go through the non-tradable rights, offer the non-tradable rights. If you
Okay.
get subscriptions, then you can convert that into common stock and then transfer that common stock to the list that common stock and then transfer it to the shareholders.
That process is assimilation.
Yes, assimilation.
I understand the slightest difference.
Yeah. Sometime instead assimilation we create the mandatory exchange event also. Mandatory
Mandatory
exchange.
exchange.
Exchange the rights with common stock and then transfer the common stock to the original trade line.
Okay.
In a system, if you see the limitation or restrictions to create the assimilation event, then in that case you can create a mandatory exchange event because here you can only exchange the non-tradable rights with common stock.
Tradable.
Trade one, correct. Okay.
Yep.
So mandatory exchange. And sometime you would see, let's say you're not able to create the assimilation, you're not able to create the mandatory exchange, then sometime you can create the mandatory conversion also. But this is going to happen in only exception. Mandatory conversion. So you can convert rights into non-tradable into tradable one.
Okay.
Conversion, it means it's a very simple process. Remove the rights and transfer the new one.
But
The common stock.
it all happens after the subscription.
Yes.
So you subscribe, then they'll go to stock exchanges, then and they make it tradable. Means they issue common stock.
Correct.
But why would a company do that, Shiv? Because of stock exchange not
Yeah.
willing to.
Yes, yes. See, from a company side, they are ready to offer the tradable also. But
Okay.
ultimately, there should be a facility from exchange side, which they can allow the tradable part.
Okay.
If they don't have, then that doesn't make sense to offer tradable securities. Then
Understand.
it's like alternative arrangement. Okay.
This is knowledge for me. Assimilation, I always confuse about.
We'll talk about market participants.
Okay.
Most of the time, you would have heard word which is upstream and downstream, right?
Yep.
Issuers who announce corporate actions. If I take the example of TCS or Infosys, Google, Facebook, Netflix, or even my company.
When it go public.
Yeah. So we are the issuers.
Okay.
We actually announce the corporate action, and that's what we are at upstream side, upper side.
Giving, we are offering.
Exactly, because your corporate action will born from this issuers.
Okay.
Then, if company announce any corporate action, see, it's a mandate to appoint registrar. If I registered company as a private limited, now
Okay.
it's mandate to us to appoint registrar, auditor, and legal advisor. It's a mandate.
Okay.
Within a 30 days, it should be appointed, and then that registrar will take care of everything: name change, bonus issue, stock split, merger, acquisition, reverse split. Board will decide. Board will send one notice, single notice to the registrar, and registrar will take care of the further part.
Okay.
They'll communicate with the investors. They'll communicate with custodians, brokers, stock exchanges, legal departments, regulators, the company, corporate affair ministry. They'll communicate with everyone. I have just appointed one registrar from Chennai for my business.
Okay.
So they're going to perform my compliance work, auditing work, accounting work, and reporting work.
So it's a regulatory requirement.
Yes, it's a regulatory requirement. That's what registrar come into picture, and you would have heard this word even registrar. Reach out to the registrar, communicate with the registrar. So did we receive any notice from the registrar, right?
Yeah.
Because your corporate or this event communication will be sent from the registrar only. They'll communicate to us.
Okay.
This is the again another team comes from a upper side or upstream side.
So upstream these are the players.
Yes.
So registrar also comes under upstream team.
Yes, upstream.
Oh. Oh.
And popular registrars like in an international market. So the names which is a link time or link in time something link in time. If I'm not wrong. Link in time. Another one is ClearPar,
Okay.
Euroclear, Crest. DTCC, Depository Trust Clearing Corporation.
NSCC.
And in a local market, you would say so many.
Okay.
Okay. Normally, even the CA can also register that firm as an auditing firm, and then I can appoint that auditing firm also as a registrar for my business.
Okay.
There is, you don't require any special constitutions which can define that registrar, it should be like that or this. No. If they have registration certificate of their auditing firm, then I can appoint them as a registrar.
Okay.
And they can manage all the corporate communication. Are you getting me? Any doubt in this?
Yeah. Very clear.
Then your custodian role come into picture. Okay. So in next month, I'm talking about my business only. So that will help you to understand, this business and all. I mean, in what happened in a practicality or in reality. So maybe in next 30 days, I'm going to receive my share certificates.
Okay.
I'm holding almost 80% shares. So the face value of one share is around 10 rupees something that
Okay.
I kept it, and we're gonna receive 10,000 shares. Almost 7,900 shares will be in my account,
Mm-hmm.
and rest will be with the other four members or four directors who have joined my business.
Okay.
But when we received that certificates, I cannot keep that shares with me because shares is a freely transferable document.
Mm-hmm.
If I lost it, and if you get the document, then you will be the owner of that particular shares. Then I cannot claim that. Why? Because it's a bearable instrument.
Mm.
As per the Financial Instrument Act that defined the shares, bonds, those are the bearable instrument.
Means whoever holds that certificate are the owner or
Exactly.
have the ownership. Mm.
Exactly. And that's what the custodians, they plays a very vital role to provide safe facility to the securities which you're holding.
Okay.
So it means, so very soon I'm gonna open my Demat account,
Mm-hmm.
and then I'll convert that shares into digital format, right?
Okay.
Physical
Okay.
shares, physical certificates I'll deposit with depository, which is National Security Depository Services, NSDL, or maybe CDSL.
Ministry.
I'll have two options. Who is
Okay.
offering the better services, or I'll look for a charges even, right? It's
Of
not a
course.
easy to convert that shares into digital one and then transfer it. That process will take time and charges even. If the
Yes.
NSDL they are offering, then I'll deposit 10,000 shares of my GMT institutions at NSDL, and then NSDL team they'll convert that shares into digital one.
Okay.
It's like normal, if you have a 10,000 rupees, then you can go to the bank and deposit 10,000 rupees, and then bank
Mm.
or the cashier they'll convert that 10,000 into digital one, so which you can see that balance in your bank account,
Okay.
and then after you can easily transfer to anyone, correct?
Right. Custodian services. Like my previous company was State Street, being custodian. Mm.
Exactly. So
Mm.
the process would be, so I'll submit my securities,
Okay.
normal certificates, physical certificates, which I
Mm.
have received from the SEBI or the
Mm.
regulator,
Okay.
right? Or maybe Ministry of Corporate Ministry, I would say. So
Mm.
I'll convert that, means I'll deposit that physical shares, and then depositories will convert that shares into digital one. And when we
Okay.
convert it, we required demat account from the NSDL or either CDSL. It's a
Mm.
mandate.
Mm.
If you want to convert your physical rupees into digital, then you should have a saving account
Mm.
or maybe current account.
Mm.
The similar way, if I want to convert my share certificate, then I required demat account.
Mm. What is the technical word for US investors? Shiv? Let's say DTCC, NSCC, the investors have to have an account with them.
Not
Is it
them, with the
same
custodian I'm
demat?
talking about. I'm talking about, you see, that the NSDL and CDSL, these are the depositories who offer the
Mm.
license of custodian. If you
Mm.
want the custodial license, then you can registered with NSDL and CDSL, and then after
Okay.
they allocate the demat accounts to them for a servicing.
Mm. I understand. I just got, deviated. I want to know the technical term. We call it demat account. What is it called in US?
We call it demat account even. So there is no
Okay.
technical word in
No
anywhere in the
technical.
world. It's a demat
Mm.
account.
There might be a question. What is that account called? I mean, they can
No, no,
ask. I
no. There
just
is no
wanted to
any
know.
other alternative for this. It's a demat
Right.
account
Okay. Right. Let's
for a
come back to
saving.
your example. Timely example.
Yeah.
Mm.
What was that? I forgot.
You said so. Let's say you met up with custodian.
Yes.
They
So it
they'll
means
open an account.
eventually, see,
Mm.
NSDL and CDSL, they offer depository services, right? Where you can
Yep.
deposit shares, physical
Certificate.
shares,
Mm.
right? They'll convert into digital one.
Digital form. Okay.
And if you want the digital shares, then you require demat account. Correct?
Yeah.
So then when you open your demat account, the depository team will transfer the shares in your account, demat account. And when you received in a demat account, you can transfer to anyone. But that demat account will be allocated to the custodian. Why custodian? Because custodians are the shares bank.
Bank, shares bank.
Shares
Nice,
bank.
nicely said.
Because they provide safety, security, and they also help you to manage your securities in a very transparent way. If you want to transfer it to someone else, their team will help you to transfer the securities from one demat account to another demat account.
Okay.
If you want to lend the securities to someone else, they'll help you to lend that security even.
Securities lending process comes.
Exactly. If you want to check the corporate action benefits, custodians will help you to check the corporate action benefits or whatever the events which was announced on the XYZ securities. Custodians will carry all the information and they'll provide it to you. Why? Because they are the member of depository, so they know
Yes.
how many
They-
shares are outstanding. It's a mandate to open the demat account to all the members. So it means we five people or members or directors, right? It's a mandate to
Yes.
all to open the demat accounts.
Okay.
Let's say when we open, so now we have a total 10,000 outstanding shares. And if I sell or transfer the shares to someone else, so outstanding shares will be remain same, right? The number of participants will change.
Yes. Ownership will change.
Ownership will change, and that details, if you want, then you can contact to the custodian.
Right.
Who are the shareholders who holding the particular shares of GMT shares and all? The custodian will provide all the information to you because they are the member of NSDL, and NSDL know it. How many shares are outstanding in the books of GMT or maybe that particular GMT shares in the market.
Okay.
Why this is important? Because if you don't know the outstanding shares, then you won't be able to calculate the benefit of corporate action. And that's the reason custodian plays very vital role in a corporate action business.
Okay. So let's say a company announced their corporate action, they won't in fact directly participate. Custodians will do the transferring, ownership transfers, so
Exactly.
shares transfers, and
Yes.
we as backend operations will perform on behalf of the client, end client.
If you join any custodian, and if you're, let's say, you're part of corporate action team, then you're gonna do the same activities, transfer the securities from one demat to another
Okay.
demat account.
Okay, similar.
Yes, it could be dividend. It could be for a dividend. You don't need to process the dividend, but you need to send the instructions to the bank who can who are managing the cash operations on behalf of the GMT institution. Because as a GMT, I'll transfer cash to the one agent bank. Let's say I have just opened the account with Kotak Bank. I'll transfer 1,000 crore to the Kotak Bank, and then Kotak Bank will reach out to the custodians and ask for a data. Hey, can you please provide the details for shareholders who are outstanding or who are holding the securities of this GMT Academy? Just confirm to us accordingly. Kotak's payment or cash team will release the payments. And then if you send means custodian, if they share the data with agent bank, then they'll process the payments to the shareholders. That's it.
If we
And if it
understand
is a
the
stock
logic,
payment, then
and
custodian will process it from their own.
so like if we understand the concept, it feels much easier. Just have to know what comes, who involves, what do they do, where it goes, how the benefit is transferred again.
And that's what, let's say we have any issues with bonus issues or maybe stock dividend, stock split or reverse split, we reach out to the custodians. You're working at custodians, and if you don't have information, then you can reach out to the registrar.
Okay.
If you're working at registrar, and if you, let's say the XYZ information is missing from the document, then you can reach out to the direct company. Or apart from that, you can refer other sources as well, like Bloomberg, if it is allowed. Few institutions, they allowed to check the information on Bloomberg, or maybe Reuter, or any other source if the company is referring, or that the broker team is referring, or else the last point of contact would be the issuer team. You can send mail to them,
Okay.
they'll provide you the information. So that depends where you are working. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
And the
Clear.
popular custodians are like that, Citibank, BNY, ICICI, Axis Bank, right? BNP Paribas, JP Morgan, they have a custodial business lines. So they offer the custodian services to their investors, funds, mutual funds, hedge funds, institutional investors, and many more. And even the
Okay.
family businesses as well, like Ambani, Adani, Tata groups. Then Asian banks. Asian banks, like as I mentioned, I give you the example of Kotak Bank. Every company, it's mandate to have their Asian bank.
Okay.
Otherwise, how they'll process the cash payment,
Of course. Yeah. Agree.
right? So as I said earlier, I have just opened my the GMT's bank account with the Kotak Bank to manage the cash operations or to process the payments to the let's say employees, or maybe any other counterparts or vendors who are working with us. So we'll make the payment through that account. So it means to the Kotak Bank, my accountant will send a notice. Hey, hi team, can you please process the payment or make the payment to this team or this guy or that institutions? Accordingly, they'll process the payment, and that's what agent bank plays a very vital role. If you have any issues or discrepancies in a cash payment, you can reach out to the agent banks. Simple.
Okay.
And if you're working at agent bank, let's say at a BNY, and you're offering payment, corporate action payment, cash payment services, then in that case, the other counterparts, it can be hedge funds, mutual funds, individual investors, they can send the queries to your team, cash team. Hey, I was saying the different ratio or rate, let's say $100 with this rate, but I have received only $80. Can you please advise why I have received less payment or short of $20? Right? Then you can do the
Yeah.
investigation. Let's say tax applied on the dividend payment. Then you can calculate and highlight the tax rates. Then reply to the counterpart. Hi team, the tax was applied to the payment. That's what we have received net payment from this and this institution, and rest payment has been or transferred to the tax account. Because Asian banks also work as a tax collector on behalf of the government.
Okay.
They hold the government, state governments, or central government's accounts.
Let's say simply we can say our HRs. They
Yes.
deduct the tax on behalf of and they pay back
Exactly.
in a pay slips.
And if you want any information, payment received which is not matching any with your system, or maybe the tax applied, you are saying 10% but they have charged 15%, right? In case of any issues, you can directly reach out to the Asian banks.
Okay.
And if you're working at an Asian bank, then the other counterparts, they'll reach out to you. And then your responsibility is to check the internal sources and communicate with them.
2 weeks ago, I received a call from Citi, Pune. They wanted me to be part of corporate action.
Okay.
I didn't follow through on it because I wanted to brush up my skills and all.
Okay.
Maybe this is the activity. I guess they are also custodian, like you mentioned here. So they also safe keep. On the other hand, they are an agent bank.
Exactly. So they manage the cash operations as well as stock operations as well.
So internal teams.
Yeah.
I understand.
Then broker come into picture. Here you would see the layers, different layers, which is prime broker, maybe international prime broker, IPB. It can be prime brokers, right? And then brokers.
Okay.
Who is the prime broker? Let's say Morgan Stanley. They are prime broker, even though they are international prime brokers as well, because their broking facilities, uh, you can access it from anywhere in the world. So they are working at an international level. So they are international prime brokers, as well as they are prime brokers also. So it means they provide their facility to the institutions, hedge funds, mutual funds, HNI investors, right? And the
Yeah.
other category would be, which is brokers, people like us who can invest in a different securities. So the brokers like Zerodha, they offer the facility, broking facility to us. And if you're working at a MS, JP Morgan, and let's say they are and you are part of the prime broking department, then here
Okay.
also you're gonna process the corporate actions to the retail investors, hedge funds, mutual funds, pension funds, fund houses or family houses, or HNI investors. Why? Try to understand the market types. We have three market types. One is order driven market,
Okay.
another one is broker driven market, and the last one is dealer driven market. Dealer driven, it means it's a bond market.
Okay.
Without dealer, you cannot purchase the bonds. Broker driven, it means it's a stock market
Stock
for
brokers.
HNI, for funds, for family funds or pension funds. So there's big institutions, they cannot purchase the securities from the open market. Simple. They cannot do it.
Yep.
They required a broker. So it means their broker will place the trade on behalf of funds. And after the confirmation, broker will allocate that shares to the funds. And in an order driven market, it's for retail investors. Retail investors.
NSE, BSE.
Yeah, through NSE, BSE, you can purchase the securities
Directly.
directly. Order driven. Place the order. Let's say
Get
you're a
it.
buyer. Buyer is also placing order. Seller is also placing order, and that order will automatically executed by the NSE team.
Okay.
It's an automated buying process, and that's what we call order driven market.
Order driven, broker driven, and dealer driven.
Dealer driven. In a bonds market, you cannot directly buy the securities from anyone. You required dealer.
Okay.
Citibank, maybe JP Morgan, maybe the Axis Bank, ICICI, SBI. They help investors to buy the bonds. Same goes with FX market as well.
Okay.
You required agent or agency or dealer who can convert that currency into, means let's say you're looking for dollar, so INR will be converted into USD.
PayPal. Example. PayPal. Payoneer.
Let's say you want to go to US in next month, and now you're looking for dollar, right? So
Yeah.
you have two options. You can convert that at airport as well, right? So nowadays airport they're also offering facility where you can convert the INR into dollars. So submit your
Yes.
dollars, they'll calculate the market rate, which is spot rate, right? And accordingly rupees will be converted into dollars, and they'll pay the dollars to you. But at the back end, actually the bank will book the spot contracts. They'll check the market price of a dollar and INR. Let's say you have 1 lakhs, right?
Yeah.
and the dollar price is 70 rupees for per dollar. You can convert that 1 lakh into dollars, so $1,428 something that the banks will give it to you. Say this.
Okay.
So for this process also you required dealer. So it means FX market is also comes under dealer driven market. Okay.
Yeah.
And here let's say if you join any prime broking house, then here also we create the corporate action and we process the corporate actions to the hedge funds, mutual funds, private equity, pension fund houses or retail investors. And for you, and here you would be the downstream teams then at a broker level.
Okay.
If you have any issues in a received cash payment, then you can reach out to the agent banks. If you have any issues in a stock payment, then you can reach out to the custodians.
See, they have the safe keep. That's fine.
Exactly. And the hedge fund teams and mutual fund teams, private equity teams, they'll reach out to you because you are the prime broker and you have offered your broking services or middleman services to the fund houses. The funds, mutual funds like Templeton, Kotak Equity, ICICI, hedge fund like BlackRock, Blackstone, they'll reach out to you because you're at a prime broker side and they have appointed you as a prime broker. Okay. Let's say they recorded, means Blackstone team, they recorded 100 USD as a dividend. When they can record on X date, and up to X date it will take 45 days around to receive the cash payment in the books of fund or bank.
But the trade is placed, will be placed after.
Yeah.
So clearing and settlement takes time.
And when the Blackstone team received their dividend in bank account, they received only $80. Here you would see the $20 shorts.
There comes reconciliation.
Exactly. So maybe due to tax, cost, transaction fees, check fees, there are a number of different things. Just because of that, they have received less payment. But if you confirm to them, yes, the check fees applied, or who will confirm it? Of course, we have sent the cash payment to you. They'll confirm. Just call them or draft an email to them. They'll confirm to you. Why the only $80 they have processed? Or might be when you reach out to them, they'll confirm to you. They'll process $20 again. In the next wire payment, you're gonna receive it. That also happens.
Okay.
But if you want any information as such, then for you, if you worked at a prime broker level, then for you the point of contact would be Asian banks for cash payments and a custodian or shares bank for a stock payments.
Stock.
And what if I joined any hedge fund? Then your job is like to perform reconciliation.
Okay.
That's it. Because on X date we record this, and on a payment date, so whatever you had recorded on X date, $100, that should be match the payment which now received in a bank account.
Okay.
That's it. If it is not, then you can do the investigation and reach out to the concerned banks or teams or corporate action teams. They'll do the investigation and they'll confirm to you. And if they confirm it, only that this is the last payment and only $80 that is the payment and they have processed it, then definitely they'll confirm you for the 20%, that can be tax or
Commission.
fees or commission or transaction fees and all. Then you can apply the accounting treatment for that also.
Okay.
That is a part of fund accounting team. So this is how your market participants work.
Upstream, downstream.
Yeah. And if you're working at a broker level, then the fund teams, hedge funds and all, those would be the downstream team for you then.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
So and if you see the setup of this corporate action teams, so DEX team, they set up or they book the trades into the system,
Okay.
which is the front office team. Right? When they booked it, then research team, they do the validation or scrubbing part of a securities, right? And they'll check the market sources as well, like NSE, BSE, then Bloomberg, or any other
Register.
platform. Yeah. And if they got to know, yes, the let's say XYZ company, they announced corporate action, then they'll check it and prepare the proper draft with the proofs and all,
Okay.
and they'll send that all the details to the event setup team. And event setup team, their job is to fit the details in system, trade that is trade date, X date, record date, right, price, quantity, types, event, that is event type, DREEP, CSO, merger, acquisition. There are a number of corporate action events. Correct.
Yep.
So they'll set up it, and after setup, if it is a mandatory, then directly event setup team will hand over the event to the payment team.
Okay.
Here, payment team.
There's no option. You have to receive it.
If it is a mandatory, let's say if I take the example of stock dividend. After the setup the event in system, that team will directly hand over the event to the payment team.
Okay.
So it means event has been set up, wait for a payment and process it directly to the shareholders. That's it. It's a plain process. You don't need to do anything.
Okay.
If it is a mandatory with choice, then event setup team will hand over the event to the instruction management team,
Okay.
like DREEP, CSO, and cash dividend. Why cash dividend will comes under mandatory with choice? If that cash dividend event is offering the choice in currencies, USD and GBP, or it can be any currency. There would be one default currency. Choice notice will be sent out to the investors,
Okay.
and they'll select their choice. Let's say there are 100 investors, 50 submitted their choice as they want payment in USD, dividend payment in, and 50 submitted in GBP.
Okay.
What if you don't receive any choice from the investors within a stipulated time frame? Because there will be deadline, before that they need to submit it.
Default will apply.
Then default will apply. If you see the two payment options, then that dividend we consider as a mandatory with choice.
Okay.
And in a stock, CSO and DREEP, already we have discussed about it. Two options, cash and stock. Whether if you want cash or stock. If the company is offering two benefits in a one event, so it means company is giving you choice to select the one benefit. So accordingly they will process to you. And if you don't select any benefit, then company will pay you directly the default option payment. Are you with me till here?
Yeah, sure. If it
So
is
that,
if it is no option, only two teams, event setup team, then it moves to the payment team. If there
exactly.
is an option, one or two more teams will involve just to streamline and
To manage the options and all,
mm, mm,
they'll reach out to the investors,
mm,
right?
more
And
work.
they'll send the notifications and all with the full details.
Mm,
They'll wait for their choice or the submission of their choice and all, and
okay,
after that they'll update the data into the system, and then that event will be sent out to the payment team for payment
okay,
processing.
okay.
In case of voluntary, tender, buyback,
मी करते तुला कॉल
subscription offer. In case of voluntary one, event setup team will send the events to the deadline team,
Okay.
or that team we called election management team. Why?
Mm, mm,
Because voluntary events are like optional events. You're not going to force to anyone.
mm.
If the investors are interested to buy something, then they'll buy it. Otherwise, they don't have any force to participate in that action or event.
Okay.
And here, company with particular buyback event, company announce the expiration date as well.
Okay.
Why expiration date? On or before that, shareholders, they should submit their option,
Mm.
not choice, option.
Option. Okay.
Here you have a choice
Mm.
with a mandatory with choice events,
Mm.
but with a voluntary you have an option to
Are you
participate.
Are you opting or not? Just say before
Yes,
this.
say it. If you want to opt, then opt it.
Mm.
If you don't, then don't worry.
Okay.
Your holdings, those are not going to affect if you don't
So
participate.
deadline election management team will gather the communications and instructions.
Yes, instructions. And after received instructions and all, to calculate the benefit and allocate it.
Okay.
How the buybacks and tender works? Let's say you're holding 1000 shares, and company announced the ratio which is 100 is to 1. So it means for 100 shares you can, or company will buy back only 1 shares.
Okay.
You're holding
100.
1000 shares. This is the ratio.
Okay. For every 100, they'll get one.
Original positions or holding. You holding 1000, so it means in your case company will buy back
10.
only 10 shares. 990 shares will be remain in your your demat account. Only 10 shares will be debited.
Cool.
And this is how that the election management teams, they'll calculate the benefit and allocate it to the respective investor's account. And
Okay,
after
debiting.
that event will be sent out to the payment team for a payment processing. Correct?
Yeah.
What if there are only 950 positions? In that
They're not
case,
eligible. Oh, they are eligible.
they are eligible for not 10 positions but for 9
9.5.
positions.
9 or 9. Okay.
And here you would see the buyback and tender with the two different phases. One which is odd lot tender,
Okay.
odd lot. So it means if it is a odd lot, in that case also even you can process it 10 shares if you want. So it means for 50 positions you can round up, round down and round up.
Okay.
If below the 50 you're holding 940, then only 9 shares will receive to you.
Round down.
Round down. And if it is a round up, it means if it is, let's say, holding 960, then it will be round up. Then you can debit the 10 shares from the investor's account.
Okay.
Round down and round up.
Round up.
So this process comes under odd lot tender. Tender and odd lot tender. So it means even lot or odd lot.
Okay.
These are very technical words.
Yeah.
So maybe sometime you may expect questions, so you should know it. Do you
So-
know anything about odd lot and even lot?
So odd lot, on an odd lot, they'll round up
Yes.
and they won't in even lot.
Yeah.
Rounding doesn't happen. Okay.
Exactly. Rounding not required in a even lot.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then after payment processing, where here payment processing team, when they received payment, payment processing team, it means their job is like, so on a pre-payment date, payment date -3,
Okay.
payment date -3 days. So they'll receive the events from a instruction management team, or maybe event setup team, or the election deadline teams.
Okay.
So in
This
a
3
payment-
days is minimum, sure?
Yeah, PD.
This. Yeah.
PD -3 is a
Payment
minimum.
-3, minimum 3 days.
Yeah, minimum before the payment date, you should send
Okay,
the
before.
event to the payment team. That's how they'll get a time to recheck everything. Correct? And they'll reach
Yeah.
out to you if required any. Sometime you would see the ISIN is mismatch, rate is not in line, or maybe the name of that issuer is not correctly updated. So you would see the I would say, here and there information. In that case, you will have a time to reach out to the event setup team to get it updated.
Okay. I have a question.
Yeah.
Let's divert. How many days can a company take to announce a corporate action that day between X date? How many days they usually say?
X plus. Okay, so can you repeat your question?
Yeah, I'll repeat. I just kind of confused. Let's say I want to announce my corporate action today.
You're from company side or investor side?
Company's side.
Yeah, go ahead.
So how many days will I take to disclose it to the customer or investors?
You're announcing corporate action on announcement date only.
Announcement date and between the days between announcement date and next days.
There
Next
is no
date or
fixed
record.
duration, but within a 1 week or 2 day, 1 week or 2 weeks, it should be announced your X date. That is depends on the corporate action nature. If it is a voluntary one, that will take time, right?
Cool.
That
So there is
depends.
no
If it is a
mandate,
mandatory one, you can quickly announce your announcement date, X date, record it, and payment date. In case of DREAP, dividend reinvestment plan, it will take time. It will take around 1.5 months to get it done. In case of voluntary events, again it will take around 1.5 months to process it.
Okay.
But everything
there's-
that you're gonna disclose on an announcement date only. Sometime payment date you don't require to announce on announcement date, but X date and record date should be there. If it
What is the general practice to announce for most of the companies? They simply disclose it on their company's
Announcement date.
website or say they send
yes,
emails?
company's website. Every information it's mandated to announce their company site.
Okay.
And that data, the registrars and the other institutions, they send it to the other participants, and that's what they send. It's a mandate to send notice to the registrar.
Okay.
So it means registrar, they carry each and every information about the institution. Each and every I'm talking about.
Okay.
If you
Even the
take
tiny
normal
bits.
or formal meetings, and if you discuss any topic about company, that also should be recorded and sent out to the all the stakeholders, key stakeholders, or every stakeholders. And who will draft it? Your company secretary.
Okay.
So it means registrar. You have two options. You can appoint individual CA or qualified CS, and you can appoint them as a company secretary. Or else you can outsource that activity. I have outsourced it because I don't want any kind of I don't have time to sit with that company secretary and draft an email or communication to all my stakeholders. I don't have that time.
Okay. Even custodians are doing this activity? Can
Yeah,
they?
yeah, they can offer it.
Of
If they
course.
have a setup, then they can offer. And sometime you would see the registrar, agent bank, and custodian. Let's say there is one institution who offering all the facilities.
Okay.
You would see that as well. That the JPM sometime or maybe Citibank they offer, right, for a different markets. Sometime BNP you would say they are the custodian as well as they are providing agent bank facility as well. Same institution. And here in a payment team, you would see the structure like prepayment, payment, and post payment. Prepayment basically to verify all the positions and
Okay.
whatever the information you are saying in the event that you need to validate it, right? And then
Yep.
payment on a payment date, you're gonna receive MT566, which is notification or message which confirms that the payment has been received in bank account or maybe demat account. When you received confirmation, then you can release the payment
Okay.
to the downstream team. Simple. That depends where you're working. Accordingly, you can release the payment.
I remember the Swift codes.
Yeah. And post payments basically, here you need to check it, the unpaid accounts, or perform the reconciliation. I would say, in the reconciliation and check it. Sometime that happened, you process the payment for 1,000 accounts, but system posted payment on only 800 accounts. 200 still are
Rejections.
unpaid. Then you need to do investigation and find out how many accounts are unpaid and why. Do the investigation and then take the appropriate action. Maybe you can reverse the payments, then post it to the correct accounts, right? Or maybe you can republish the events or process the events,
Account is under default, then contact the customer and,
activate it. There are a number of
Like,
things, right? Maybe sometime account is new that is not yet set up in system, and reach out the teams, different teams, setup teams to set up it in system first, right? That also happened, and then process.
I was part of that team when I worked with Carby, computer share.
Okay. And that post payment activities or reconciliation comes under the risk part.
Okay.
So here you would see the stock breaks, cash breaks, suspense breaks, write-off breaks, control account breaks, unmatched breaks, failed trades breaks, right? So that depends. So breaks part, that is depends on you how you resolve it and all, right? It is a part of investigation. And then finally claims come into picture. Claims, which is all about for a failed trades, you cannot directly process the payment, but you can arrange the alternative system for a failed trades
Okay.
to process the payment to them. Then your claim process come into picture. Claim is nothing but it's like again same to process the cash and stock payment manually. There are two ways. One, system will pay it automatically, and another
Okay.
one is manually payment. So it means in this case you need to send the mail to the counterparts, request them to confirm the bank account details, and then initiate the payment on their bank account or maybe demat account. That is depends stock payment and cash payment accordingly.
Okay.
So that part comes under claim processing, stock claims and cash claims. So you can avoid it if you want say it. So I'm not a part of a risk part or claim part. Right. So till the payment processing, you can only discuss with the interviewer. I'm done with the introductory or this process flow part. Okay. Maybe tomorrow we'll connect and I'll walk you through the rule, that is corporate action rule. The important one is
Okay. Sure.
this part.
And we shall we look at the resume tomorrow itself?
Yes, tomorrow. Because I don't have time now.
Okay.
Yeah. Any question?
Very clear. Very clear. It just felt like refreshment after going through this.